Hey everyone, checking into the cryptocurrency space. It's been a couple of days because we just were trading sideways with multiple daily inside bars. So Bitcoin with a bull break leading a little bit ahead of the altcoins, pretty much going step for step as a whole, but we will see that Bitcoin's gaining on Ethereum very slightly. So I consider this the same bounce. We hit the low of 8,400. We saw the daily bounce get underway, sideways for 2 days, and now continuation of that same bounce. We're going to look at a lot of coins that have very different setups. I shouldn't say very different, little minute differences, but differences nonetheless. And I usually smooth out those charts by zooming out for clarity, which I will show you when we get to them. But as far as Bitcoin is concerned, so 8,400 is our key daily support, and I still consider anything under $10,030 as a lower high. We have to top out from this move wherever it is, set a higher low compared to 8,400, and then see a clear trend change for us to say, yes, our weekly higher low has been established. And not ready to say that just yet at this point. There's definitely been correlation between Bitcoin and the broader markets. And it's something that not many people in crypto are happy about or want to talk about, because we keep talking about how it's this uncorrelated asset. And we see things like the Fed. The Fed came out and said, hey, we're going to lower rates. And everything reacted instantly when that happened. And Bitcoin reacted instantly as well. It shot up with the S&P 500. And then as the S&P 500 started pulling back, Bitcoin pulled back pretty hard as well, back to 8,700s. So it's a reality. It is happening. Why is it happening? Because there's big money that is... It happens so fast that I'm assuming it's automated to a certain degree. But it's real, and we have to acknowledge that it is happening. And if you've been observing the two over the last few weeks, it's probably been a bit more correlation than we've seen in the last year or two. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. And again, not acting as the safe haven as bulls would have hoped. The S&P 500 just dropped 13+% in just over a week's trading time. And that's the kind of scenario where people would hope that Bitcoin would start going up, showing us that money is leaving markets and going into the cryptocurrency space. But we're just not seeing that. So we have to remain honest about that. It's not the ideal scenario. Yes, we're holding on just fine, and we're still watching the monthly equilibrium as the most likely scenario. But as far as the narrative of Bitcoin being the safe haven, non-correlated asset, this was an example for everybody to jump on board and say, oh, look at that, it is. But that wasn't the case. So we'll continue to monitor correlations, but treating Bitcoin just like I would anything else, and using the monthly equilibrium as my longer term guide. So at this point, I still have my smaller position. Average is about 8,700 or so. And I had one more order at 8,300 that did not fill. So I personally would prefer to continue pulling back on this monthly time frame to clearly set the lower high. I want to see a break of 84, drop down to 8,000, maybe upper 7,000s, set a monthly higher low, and then into mid-year, get a bull break of 10,522 to see this equilibrium break bullish. We'll see if we get that. May not, but I do plan on scaling in more longer-term, monthly-based positions in both ETH and BTC if that were to play out. So I'm in no rush to add at this point. I have a position. If we turn around and run up to 11,000, great, I'm going to make money. And if we don't, great, I have cash allocated for further entries. Bitcoin dominance. So here's what I'm talking about, where it's sideways to a certain degree. So there's not any major changes between Bitcoin gaining on the altcoin space. A little bit, but we would have to break 66.39 for it to be a very clear, significant move in favor of Bitcoin. ETH, you can see this daily bounce. We had inside bars as well. We broke the inside bars bullish, but we haven't broken the top of the bounce yet. 234.50, 234.47. It's a double top. So I consider this still the same bounce. Looking for a daily lower high compared to 278.13. And again, if we want more clarity, pull up the 2-day chart to just smooth it out a little bit. This isn't a very confidence building bounce for ETH at this point. Could this be a bear flag on the 2-day time frame? Yeah, you could still make that argument, absolutely. This bounce is not significant enough compared to where we came from to have a significant amount of space to try and change that daily trend with a higher low and higher high. So bulls would prefer to break this double top, get into the 240s, and then we start creating that space for the daily higher low to form once we do top out. ETH BTC, very tight, but if we see a break of 2514, it's a bear break. It would then be the low, high of the bounce, little higher low, sideways range, and a bear break, and that would again show us that Bitcoin is gaining on ETH and that the weekly higher low has not been set yet if we see that support break. LTC, so LTC was trading a bit sideways as well. It got its bull break, so trying to create some space. The low was down at 56.05. Anything under 80.75 is a daily lower high. So again, not a significant confidence building bounce in this current setup. And all we got to do is pull up the 2-day chart and say, yep, that could be a bear flag still. Have to be cautious. There's no bull volume and there's no bull follow through at this point. XRP, also weak. Inside bar broke bullish, but not breaking the top of the bounce in any convincing way at this point. 2-day time frame, possible bear flag. So if we're going to negate these bear flags, we need a solid leg up and a solid 4 to 5% move on these names, getting further bounce follow through. Red flag will be a loss of the 4-hour uptrend. So if we lose 4-hour uptrend on these names that aren't really seeing significant bounces, then the odds of a 2-day bear flag will increase a bit. BNB, this is a significant bounce. So this is what everybody wants to see their coin doing. And again, space created. At this point, we could pull back over 10% and still look to form a higher low. 16% above the low from where we bounced. And just a comparison of where XRP stands, we are looking at roughly half of that. So let's pull up the 2-day time frame here. Does it look like a bear flag on Binance? And the answer is no, because this is where we dropped from, and the size of the bounce at this point is significant enough for us to not look for a bear flag. So 4-hour uptrend will be our guide here as well. Plenty of space for a 4-hour higher low to form above 1951 once we do top out. And bulls are hoping to create enough space to eventually shift this momentum enough to set the weekly higher low. We have a lot of weekly inside bars forming this week, and considering it's Thursday right now, we're probably going to see these weekly inside bars form, and then next week, once Sunday rolls over, we'll be looking to see if these inside bars break bullish, our weekly higher lows are set. If they don't, then they aren't set yet. Link is a lead bull. How long have we been saying that? Very clearly standing out above the rest, and a daily trend change, higher low and higher high. As soon as that happened, we knew our weekly higher low was set, and here we are at the all-time high. Some exchanges hitting all-time highs, some exchanges getting a little bit double toppy. So bulls definitely want a bit more follow through, but compared to what everybody else is doing, they'll certainly take it. 4-hour tightening range, key support is 456. So high of 498, low of 456, lower high of 490, and now we're looking for a higher low based off of 456. Look at the 4-hour exponential 12-period support that's been holding for a couple days. And when we lose the 4-hour uptrend, anything above 375 is a daily higher low. XTZUSD also getting some solid bounce follow through. Again, a little bit of a daily, you could call this a daily trend change. 252 held, and then we broke the lower high of 299. Let's pull up the 2-day time frame. So a significant enough bounce to not be a bear flag. We look at the weekly chart, inside bar. So inside bars all around on the weekly time frame. 4-hour uptrend. When we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we're going to look for a daily higher low to be set. Healthy 4-hour consolidation, increasing bull volume, declining bear volume, exponential support catching up, keeping an eye out for XTZ to give us a 4-hour higher low in the near-term future. BCHUSD, so similar to ETH and LTC, where we are attempting to break bullish, but we're not getting much follow through. The 2-day time frame is a potential bear flag at this point. I would need to see the bulls get up over 350 to start to negate that bear flag, because that would be a daily trend change with this little higher low and then higher high. So most important short-term support is 311. Not many names have that little daily higher low there from yesterday. So that's a nice closer by support to be looking at, and BSV did that as well. So trying to form 220 as a higher low and have to break 260.86 for this trend change and bounce follow through. So bottom line, weekly inside bars, most likely scenario. All depends on your time frame. So now that I'm focusing on the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, I'm less interested in what the 4-hour time frame is doing. I'm looking at the daily and the weekly as my backbone of all of my analysis and all of my decision making. If you are looking at shorter term trades, then you're looking at shorter term time frames. So weekly inside bar is the most likely scenario, and we'll be watching for how that weekly inside bar breaks early this coming week. Hope you are well. Make sure and do good things out there, and we will see you in the near-term future.